What's something really stupid your parents told you that you believed as a child? Bees sense fear and will only sting you if you're scared. Just put on some jazz and the bee will take care of everything. I mean, there's some truth to this in that if you're scared, you might freak out and make more sudden movements that could prompt a bee to sting you. That when you get a needle, the wipe that they swipe on your arm before the injection is to numb the area so it won't hurt. It took me until I was 23 to realize that it was just an alcohol swab to clean the area. I wish something like that really did exist. I bet we all do. I'm also 23 and this comment made me realize this, goddamn I'm an idiot. That the king and queen give you jobs, we live in America. Explains why I don't have a job then. That adults are mature. I was walking past a park where two vans were parked, long-haired guys leaning on them, funny smell emanating from them. Told my mother about it and she said, that was pot, you're allergic to it. That was my talk about drugs. Been smoking it ever since. That if I turned the lights on in the car the police would have arrested me. That the real F word was frick. My mom convinced me it was piss but that it was spelled fist because PH makes an F sound. My parents and our family friends rented a lakeside cabin when I was about 4 or 5 and there was a small hole under a tree in the yard, and my mom told me and the family friend's son that an anaconda lived there. I live in Finland and we most definitely don't have anacondas. Nevertheless, we believed it and decided to drown the anaconda. How do you even drown an anaconda? They live underwater in rivers. We carried water from the lake and poured it into the hole for hours. I really hope we didn't actually drown some poor creature living in there. Our parents probably had fun not having us pestering them for several hours. That boy shouldn't cry. This one hit me good. The comment or your parents? Yes. Well, it wasn't my parents, but my brothers told me that dinosaurs hid in the dark. I was scared of the dark for as long as I can remember and I just relinquished that fear a year ago. Not my parents, but brother also. We both are deaf and only 11 months apart. When we were kids, I would often scream at him to scare him, and his pride hated it. So, he told me that if I use my voice so much this early in our life, my voice will run out when we're older. So then how can I scream for help if I don't have my voice? 30 years later, I still don't scream even when I ride on roller coaster. Damn. He got me good. That if you swallow a plant seed it will grow in your stomach and up to your mouth. Mine told me it'd flower out my ass. Mine said it'd grow out of my belly button. Mine said the hole. That mothers have soggy or elongated boobs so that they could flip those over their shoulders and breastfeed the child while carrying him on their back. The tooth fairy. I'm a teacher, and it's much better money today. Whoever invested in teeth, is making a killing. Prices have gone from 50 cents in the early 90s to upwards of $5 today. Some students have reported getting $20 per tooth. Not my parents, but I once asked my older brother why people say Rome wasn't built in a day and he said, quite seriously, they're being sarcastic because the Romans actually did build Rome in one day. I believe that until college. That I'm mommy's handsome little boy. You're ugly as well, aren't you? That dogs are unstable and have to be feared because they only wait for opportunity to kill you. My mother had a phobia. I understood that no sooner than when I was very late teen. I asked where I came from and my mother told me she had bought me from a gypsy. Maybe that's true though. My grandma used to tell me that if I didn't finish my food, the bugs that live in my stomach will eat me from the inside out. That toilet seat covers were called ass gaskets. This finally came up when I was 16 at my first job as a busboy. Busy Saturday morning at a mom and pop's type place. I yelled out to her that we were out of ass gaskets. The whole place went pretty quiet except for one old timer laughing his ass off. My dad called toilet seat covers ass gaskets for my entire life and my brothers before me. He always kept some in an envelope in his vehicle glove box. Envelope was labeled, you guessed it, ass gaskets. That if I misbehaved, the gypsies would come and take me away. That's how they recruit. Not me. But a friend's parents told her she wasn't allowed to eat Lucky Charms because it was sinful. She was horrified when we told her it was just cereal and it wasn't bad for you morally, just health-wise. Went home and confronted her parents and turns out the dad had always just been really creeped out by Lucky the leprechaun and didn't want the cereal box in the house, so they thought if they told her it was bad morally, she wouldn't ask for it. We were in middle school. Why couldn't they just store the cereal bag and throw out the box? A bird pooped on my head once and my mom told me it was good luck so I didn't cry. I've had a bird poop on my head twice a week once. I'm so lucky. Same but bird shat on my ice cream and I didn't notice, but my bro said it was vanilla with chocolate chip. My lovey older brothers used to tell me frog in Spanish is Also that if I stuck my hand out a car window that a trucker would handcuff it to something outside and would roll the window up. So, about that username. My mother told us never to eat the frost that formed on the freezer compartment of the refrigerator, because it had chemicals, and if we ate it, we would get really sick and maybe even die. My mom came up poor, and her family had ice boxes, not refrigerators, and even though mom had a graduate degree, she believed this to be true. My mom, in a rush, when I asked who Hitler was, responded he was a very bad man who killed anyone who didn't have blonde hair and blue eyes. I have brown hair and blue eyes. Was scared for years. Eating your crust will help you whistle. They deny ever telling me, but I know they did. In my house, it was eating the crust would make you grow curly chest hair. Somehow my father thought that was an incentive to ingest said crust for his 9-year-old daughter. It was illegal to own female fish. I wanted a betta fish for years. My mom said there was no way to tell if it was a boy or a girl when we bought it, but owning a girl fish would send me to jail. So I could never get a betta fish. That cows grazing on hillsides, legs on one side are shorter than legs on other sides so they can stand up straight. Also, my dad caught a tuna so big that they are still canning tuna fish from it to this day. My dad told me that the cigarette lighter in his truck was actually a turbo button. Whenever it was just him and I in his old truck, he would tell me to push it. He would floor it and I thought we were going warp speed because I pushed the button. Times before seatbelt laws were great. That if I was in the street, cars were allowed to kill me. It was a good rule of thumb, until I started driving. That my mom loved me. I was about to say who hurt this man, but the answer is so obvious. The red button on the remote would blow up the VCR if you pushed it. I remember hiding behind the couch cushions at an embarrassingly old age pushing the button for the first time. That my eyes will turn rectangular if I watch too much TV. Them damn goats. That picking your nose too much would cause it to fall off. You pay for the things you break at the store. Wait. Don't you? Did I see people break stuff at the store I work at and they ignore it and have us clean it up? Around the age of 5 I somehow got the idea that if you broke something at the store, you'd go to jail. To be clear, I don't think my parents told me this. I had some weird ideas as a kid. One day, I dropped a bottle of spaghetti sauce. My mom took me to apologize to the worker who was cleaning it up. I couldn't believe my own mother was going to knock me out. She couldn't understand why I was so upset. If I stayed in a hot tub too long, my heart would explode. That people weren't capable of loving me and the only reason my family tolerated me was because I was born from her. Wow. That's messed up. But why? With what necessity do you say that to a child? She hit the angry juice hard every night. It was just something my sibling and I heard regularly. She legit remembers none of it, considers herself a stellar parent and wonders why her relationships with her children are so flawed. We were lucky though because despite them separating, our dads stuck around our area in traveling distance so we could go there if we ever needed.